Hey YouTube, I'm super excited to share with you this review. The Many Moons Lunar Planner just arrived from Modern Women and Sarah Faith Gottesdiener. It's actually a little hard to see because of this shiny cover, but these are the same folks who put out the super popular Many Moons Workbooks, and those are being discontinued, so this is the last one of those, but for 2019 they've transitioned over to making this planner instead, and you can see it's spiral bound, it's good quality paper, it's got this kind of holographic silver cover, hardcover, and I'm super excited to share it with you. I've been using my Many Moons Workbook since July. This is the only one I have. I didn't get into it or didn't realize about it until the last one, but it's been super helpful. And looking through this planner, it's definitely different, but it kind of definitely carries in the same tradition. So if we open it up, we have this lovely "You Are Magic," and there's artwork like that throughout. So here's like a visual representation of the moon cycles for the year. There's a lot of artistic stuff, and then there's writing, there's interactive things you can do. So like it starts with a little page on the tarot cards of the year and how to calculate your own year card, and you can draw those in. So this is an Empress and Hanged One year, and then you put in your own card. You then get some space to write in your goals in different areas for the year. So we've got self-care and self-development, health, career and life purpose in the material realm, relationships, spiritual growth and evolution, service/helping the collective, and then an entire page for any other major intentions and desires in areas they didn't cover. Each month you have a nice little cover page, and then you get a monthly calendar that shows you visually the moon phases are drawn in there. It also does cover, so there's the dates that a moon comes into each phase. It's going to show you eclipses, and then also, let me actually check another month. I think, let's see, is it just moon stuff? Yes, it's just moon stuff that's written in, but you do get on the side here, so you have a space to write in meaningful dates and notes here. So if you did want to put in either there or on the squares, if you wanted to put in anything that's specific to your personal chart, like I'm thinking I'm going to add in where there are interesting aspects to my natal chart. They also do list down at the bottom right the gemstone, the flower for the month, and then they do give you the planetary, see if I can get that to focus, the planetary transits, as well as like retrogrades and going direct. So you can see that stuff, and if you want, you could write it into the calendar so it shows up alongside the dates. You get a page to write in some specific monthly goals, and then on the flip side, a tarot oracle card pull for the month. And they give you some suggestions for spreads that you might use, and then a full page to put in notes on a monthly pull. And then as you flip through, it is a weekly layout, so you're going to get holidays, you're going to get, it's kind of interesting, so they include meteor showers in here, and they include, I flipped through and I think it's Mercury retrograde and direct, but not necessarily other planets, and then they put in sun transits, but not necessarily other planets on the weekly spread. So again, you could use that monthly key and write them in here, but it does give you the phase as well as the sign for the moon, since this is a lunar focus planner. That makes sense. And it shows you when it switches signs. There are also some things marked here that admittedly I am not an expert in, like for example Venus at greatest western elongation. So there are other little astrological things. As you go through, when there are particularly important moments such as new moon, such as an eclipse. They do give you more. So for example, on the 5th of January, we have the first new moon of the year, and you have this full page. So I like that, they give you exercises that you can use, and then for this one, they gave you an exercise, and then you have a whole page where you can write notes on that exercise. So I really appreciate the space for writing on the exercises they come up with. They also will just put in little notes on different days. So there's a little note on Venus. There's a little random note on just a random day. Take care of one thing you've been putting off today. It may not take as long as you think, and you'll feel better after you do. There will be questions for reflection for particular moon phases that don't have a larger focus. And then you will sometimes have guest writing. So this is very similar to if you're used to the Many Moons workbooks, you'll appreciate this. So this one is for the January full moon lunar eclipse. We have Jessica Winston of House of Hoodoo writing a little essay with a is this a spell or it's a bath recipe for a ritual. So there's a whole 2-page thing on the ritual. You've got some art, and then a little bit of space for noting your intentions and writing about the ritual. So you will have some magical cues like that. At the end of the month, you have a page where you can write reflections, and I like too that there's a specific space here for writing reflections on your tarot card pulls. So you do it at the beginning of the month, and then you can write about how that went, what resonated for you, and then there's a small space for a favorite memory and or message of each month. So that is the basic idea for the layout. Obviously it goes through each month, and it's a little different depending on what's happening with the moon. So sometimes the essays you have are going to be rituals or spells. Sometimes, just like the Many Moons workbook, sometimes it'll just be some things to think on. So here's one for the February full supermoon that has a suggested ritual, and then a full moon tarot spread. So it's going to vary. It's going to include magic, tarot, different rituals. Of course, you're not always going to resonate with everything, but I think everybody's going to find something. And then when you do have the moon specifically transiting signs, they will put a specific time for that if that is important to you. Finally, so that's sort of what happens month by month. Finally, I will point out at the very end of the planner, so there's not really much for the end of the year, although they do have a little, you made it, this is the last day of 2019, and then some things you can write down in the last week. There's also like reflections on the month/year for that last month. But they do put in the back, just in case this is useful for you, a reference for the 2019 void of course moon dates. A little thing on magical days of the week. This is just like correspondences of days, kind of random. And then at the very back, this will be useful if you are not, if this is like your first time, or if you're fairly new to working with the moon. It will show you how to interpret those pictures, which phases they are, and then there's a nice little chart at the bottom that gives you some keywords for each phase of the moon and the kind of work that you might do within. So all in all, this is a really great planner, especially if you are moon focused, if you do want to do some magical work around the moon. It's obviously not quite as as much text as the workbooks had, but if you're looking for a paper planner to use and you want to do this kind of work, I think it's excellent to pull together. It doesn't have, because it is lunar focused, it's not going to have every planetary thing going on, every aspect or every transit, or at least the transits are just in that little box. And so I am considering whether to get like maybe the Llewellyn planetary, whatever they call it, planner in addition. But especially if you are a magically inclined person who's working a lot with the moon, I would definitely recommend it. And I would recommend that if you did enjoy this, go ahead and go out and get it today, because they are sold out on their site. There are other stockists that you can still get it from, but I would not be surprised if this is sold out within a couple weeks. So you might want to make this a gift to yourself, maybe to support a small business during the Black Friday season. Maybe it's a gift for someone. I would highly recommend this as a witchy gift. And yeah, I think it's really great. So definitely go out and get your own. And this is not, by the way, sponsored, or I mean, I bought this, but I just really like it. So cool. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you have this planner, if you have thoughts on it, or if there's anything else that you think I should check out. I would be happy to do so. All right.